Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Beau in Space. Hello, Beau.
Hey, Jamie. Good to see you.
This is, of course, Beau Hartweg, and he runs the planetarium here at Tyler Junior College. And you got some flashiness going on here behind us. A little bit more dim than maybe some of the things we've looked at in the past, but these are the Perseids.
Yeah.
And they're coming.
You're right. Yep, you're right. It's a little bit more dim than we have in the past, but that's what you want with a meteor shower, right? You want to get to a nice dark area so that your eyes can adjust and you can see some shooting stars, or more appropriately, meteors.
Okay. And so where do these things come from?
Yeah. So this is the Perseid Meteor Shower that's going to be happening. We say it's going to be peaking this weekend, Saturday night, kind of into Sunday morning. And the reason for the name Perseids is because they appear like they're coming from the constellation of Perseus, which is what we have up here in the dome right now. And so the constellation of Perseus is going to be kind of towards the northeastern part of the sky in the early morning hours of the 13th. Kind of right now we're at about 2 or 3 a.m. in the morning. And so if you look towards the northeast, you can see the constellation of Perseus, where it gets its name. But really, as you can see kind of here in the dome, you can see these shooting stars, these meteors, all over the sky. So you don't have to look at the constellation Perseus. You can look wherever and hopefully catch a shooting star.
So that's kind of where they're emanating from.
Yeah. It looks like they're coming from that constellation. And these meteors, we sometimes call them a shooting star. They're not stars at all. What they are is kind of the dust and debris that's left over from a comet that passed across Earth's orbit. The comet is known as Swift-Tuttle. The last time it was close to Earth was in 1992. And then the next time it's going to make its close pass to Earth isn't going to be for more than 100 years, in about 2126. Yeah. But we get to see kind of the leftover stuff from when it passed by. It kind of crosses over Earth's orbit, and then when Earth moves into that, it kind of sweeps all that stuff up, and it passes through our atmosphere, and when it does, friction causes all that stuff to heat up, and it looks like it streaks across the sky as a shooting star or meteor.
Well, there's a lot of debris out there for it to have, hung in there this long, and I guess there's still even more debris out there as it passes us again.
Yeah, this is one of the kind of the biggest and best meteor showers of the year, because you're right, there's a lot of the debris that was left behind. And this is actually even one of the oldest meteor showers that we know of on record, with reports going back to over 2,000 years of this particular meteor shower.
Wow, I bet Swift-Tuttle's mom was like, Swift-Tuttle, you pick up your mess, because look at all this mess that they left up there. And, but actually, it's not going to be quite like this. Beau has kind of pumped it up a little bit so you can actually see some of these meteors coming by, but it's just not going to be quite this.
Right, you're right. So for in our planetarium, we can simulate, and we could do many thousands of meteors per hour if we wanted to. That's what we have here. Now for sky viewers, what they'll see this weekend, hopefully you'll get lucky and maybe see up to 100 per hour, which is about 1 a minute. I mean, that's a pretty good rate. There may be even bursts where you could see up to 200 in an hour. And so if you see that many, consider yourself lucky. But yeah, this is one of the kind of the better meteor showers. And this year, people are going to be in for a treat because of the position of the moon. So we'll be just coming out of the new moon phase and kind of like the really early waxing crescent, which means that the moon's only going to be about 10% illuminated, and that will give people a darker sky to be able to see them. You're not going to have to compete with a nice bright full moon like we had last year. Okay. And so like I was saying earlier, the best way to see this is get to a nice dark area, kind of away from any city lights. Maybe just sit out in an open field if you have that available to you. Let your eyes adjust for about 30 minutes or so. Just look up and be amazed at the stars and catch a shooting star.
So how many meteors per hour will we be looking at for real?
For real, we're going to be seeing maybe about 100 per hour. Again, if you're lucky, these are always kind of estimates of what we think people might be able to see. It may change based on different conditions and all that sort of thing. But you might be able to expect to see 100 an hour, maybe 1 a minute type of thing. Yeah. And so that's a good number.
And how many meters per hour is this?
Oh,
Just so
this is many thousands. I think that I put it at like 25,000 an hour.
Oh.
So we're seeing meteors every second, right? And so that's not going to be a realistic expectation, but it's a good kind of simulation to help people see where the comets appear, or where the meteors begin to emanate from.
Yeah, okay. I think occasionally I've been pulled over for too many meters per hour. But that's a different story. We're not getting into that right now. So, are any of them colored?
Right, so the color that you're typically going to see is going to appear to be a white streak across the sky, but depending on the chemical makeup of the rock and debris, sometimes you can get orange, sometimes even green, and all that has to do with the chemical composition of the rock and the debris that's in these meteors as they pass through the atmosphere, and friction causes it to heat up, and that's what we see as the streak across the sky.
Okay, and it's do any of these ever hit the ground?
Most of what we see is not going to hit the ground. It's going to be really small, kind of pebble, maybe even dust-sized particles. But if you get a really, really big meteor that can survive the friction of the atmosphere, it can land on the ground, and at that point, it becomes a meteorite.
Okay.
So what we see in the sky, we call it a meteor. If it makes it to the ground, then we call it a meteorite. But usually those are going to be bigger chunks of rock, and they're going to, sometimes, very rarely, you'll see like fireballs that streak across the sky. And it's rocks that are that size or maybe even bigger that pass through the atmosphere that tend to make it to the ground.
I got you. Okay, all right. Oh, look out. Look out for that one. Look out.